today. I mean, I could send you to 20 doctors today who would find something wrong with you if you were doing anything prescriptions there. I moved back to Texas in 2015, and I've worked in the hemp and cannabis industry ever since.
Amazing. All right, we got Dr. Rozier. How did you get into this wild game?
Well, I'm a pain doctor out here in Dallas. I've been here for about 7 years, and so I practice out here, Dallas Mansfield area. And about a year ago, I'm just got tired of seeing what I'm seeing with my patients, all across the board, and people with just addiction and patients coming to me with stories of overdosing, and so. You know, I got to connected with the network, and I started to start a cannabis clinic. So about 8 months ago, I started our medical cannabis clinic, and so we got about 30 patients now, taking care of people from all over, from PTSD, epilepsy, you know, the gamut of things, cancer. And so it's going really well. I'm seeing people do really good right now, off opiates, happy, lives better, and so I want to keep it going, give access to everybody here in Dallas and Texas.
Yeah, there we go. And then we've got Parker with Infinite Greens. Parker, what was your journey?
So actually, I'm a commercial real estate attorney by trade during the day, and then I grow at night. And I got into it because I've always been a grower and in other states. And when hemp became legal here, I just sort of jumped on that train as fast as I could.
Awesome. And then we've got Carlos, who's been behind some of the biggest brands here in the state. How did you get into this, and what are you doing now, Carlos?
So I'm originally from Texas, so I grew up here, experimented with cannabis when I was in high school and kind of fell in love. Went to the Marine Corps. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I was stationed in California right during when Prop 215 and everything was really starting to take off. So me and my brother managed a couple of collectives in California. In 2015, we moved back to Texas, applied for a compassionate use license. So we were one of the groups that applied. We came in like 15 out of 48 applicants. And we started a hemp company. It ended up being the largest hemp company in the state of Texas at the time. The brand was called Green Lotus. We're the first company in the United States to get licenses to export CBD and hemp into Mexico, so that was pretty monumental. The company still has 22,000 points of sale in Mexico for CBD products that are manufactured here in Texas. Not a lot of people know that. Took that company public, sold it in 2019, and then got back into the medical cannabis space, got a license in Oklahoma. We launched our brand there. We're currently applying in New York for social equity dispensary license, looking for licensing deals in other medical and recreational states.
Awesome. Yeah, and in this conversation, we want to kind of talk about, obviously, the legal hemp industry that we have here in Texas, but then also some of the cannabis industry in other states and what regulations and things that we're going to deal with there. So first question I have for all of y'all is, what are some of the things that you see that you face in cannabis that a traditional business does not face? For some of those looking to start up a business, what are the biggest challenges that you've seen? And Carlos, maybe we can start with you and then work our way back down.
It's tough in cannabis, you know. It's like starting a business is hard on its own, right? Being profitable, generating revenue, scaling a business, acquiring customers, all that's really hard. But then in cannabis, you know, you don't have banking, right? Or the banks that you do have will charge you a pretty expensive, you know, fee for banking with them. You have over compliance, where the people that make the laws aren't the people operating in the space. So a lot of times they don't make sense. You know, just to give you an example, in California, the laws to take like a product to market are so difficult. By the time product gets to market, it's like 2 or 3 months after the harvest date, right? And a lot of product starts to go bad, and it's just, you know, the rules are written by people that don't have operational experience. Marketing, you know, social media bans you, blocks you. I mean, everything you can think of, basically. Every traditional channel that's available to you to build a traditional business is not available to you if you're a cannabis business.
Parker, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, actually, I think with what he said, it's made it difficult for a lot of us who have started out growing. We thought we were just going to grow flower, and then with all the gray areas in the law and the different bans on smokable hemp and what you can produce, and it pushed a lot of us to start creating other products. So that's why a lot of the growers that you'll see on Instagram or you'll meet tonight, they have their flower, but it's very back end compared to all their edibles, and that's because with the whole hemp smokable ban and all that stuff, where you can't process it here, but you can sell it here and all that, it's just really gotten a lot of growers scared to even grow it for that purpose or or advertise growing it for that purpose. And that has been a deal since I started in 2020, and it hasn't changed yet. So.
Yeah, and adding on to that, I consult with a lot of retail stores with Hemp Business Builder, and it's like over 80% of all the sales is Delta 8, Delta 10, Delta 9. So it's, you know, that's a lot to put on cannabinoids that we don't know if they're going to stay legal.
I started as flour. I wanted Infinite Greens to be known as flour, and you can't even do that because nobody wants it. I mean, the first question you get is, does it have Delta 8 in it or enough Delta 9 in it to feel something? And as soon as you say no, the person walks away. So it's hard.
And Dr. Rosier, how about you starting a...
See, I mean, I have multiple businesses, and I never had to explain myself so many times. I thought like, I'm basically like, I'm opening up a clinic for patients, and people swore I was either selling it or it was a dispensary, and so I mean, with all the merchants and like Facebook and like everybody, I had to like really explain what I was doing so many times, and so I think you deal with this like this dogma, especially here in Texas, just people. I mean, not just the, for me, but particularly not just like the doctors who like think this is crazy or what are you doing, but then you worry about people's kind of like not opinions, but like you got to form this ecosystem that is supportive of cannabis here, and so you have so much just going against you that you have to always constantly like just remind yourself too that like what you're doing is the right thing. Plus, let other people know that too. And so because this is more of people have so much opinions about this, and so that does affect your business, and so you have to really give a lot of education, I feel, in what you're doing.
Great point. And Chelsea, how about you with your clients?
So, 2 points. We have the stigma as well on the legal side. I actually had an attorney call me an illegal drug runner last week. I posted it, and I sent him a video of a 6-year-old epileptic patient being dosed and receiving immediate relief and some palliative care relief. I'm going to also speak to One Flower because I have good news for you on that. I was lead attorney on the smokable hemp case. But as far as, I'm going to take it all the way back to before you even think about doing anything with your business and you come to me, first thing I'm going to ask you is, where's your entity? Anytime you are promoting a business, you can incur personal liability for your own assets. As an attorney, if you do something fraudulent or you're sued, I can get your house if it's not homestead, the car you drove in today, your bank account. So the first thing I'm going to ask is, where's your entity? And you're probably going to tell me, well, I went on Texas SOS and I filed one for 30810. And I'm going to say, well, that's great because it's not going to work. Cannabis companies have very particular formation considerations, particularly because due to regulation, I'm sure we'll discuss today, 280E, cannabis companies are precluded access from U.S. bankruptcy courts. So if things go south and you're in the red, and you're probably going to hear from some of the legal operators up here today, you will be in the red, maybe not on your venture capital sheets, but as far as your actual products that you're selling, you will be in the red, then you're out of luck. And so there are formation considerations where we can keep that liability at the structural level. So from the very get-go, we run into, just as Carlos said, every step of the way, we're going to have a regulatory hurdle you don't have in any other sector.
And kind of going into that, I want to talk about some of the compliance that we face here in the state of Texas. Then Carlos, if you can speak to some that you see in other states, both hemp and then in medical marijuana, what's like the most ridiculous compliance or regulation?
Texas probably has the most ridiculous in the country. Yeah. No flower, less than 0.5% THC. I mean, the medical cannabis licensees are growing industrial hemp.
Yeah.
They're selling the same tincture that Parker sells, right? Has less than 0.3% THC. That's still a lot. I mean, you can fit, at one point our tinctures, and this is in 2017, our tinctures had 100 milligrams of THC in them. Because by weight, the tincture itself was less than 0.3, and she's over there smiling.
Yeah.
We were always kind of pushing the envelope.
You are pushing.
But that's like, I mean, we treat THC like it's this evil, like, I don't even know, like this evil thing that's like, oh my God, it's just really silly the way the approach that Texas has taken on that.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's the craziest.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how we still get marked like we don't have a medical program on a lot of these
Right.
websites.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because it's kind of like, do we? But at least there is access now to 10 milligram gummies and some of these other things that we didn't see before we got some of the caps lifted on the last legislative session. And Parker, how about you? I know we touched on smokable hemp. Any other things that you struggle with under the hemp program?
I think the biggest compliance issue, dumbest in my opinion, is honestly the battle between test and a DSHS test. A TDA test is what I have to do to pre-harvest anything that I grow. And then at the back end, if I make any edibles or anything, I'm supposed to get a DSHS full panel for anything that's consumed. But the definitions, when you look at the law, are different. And what counts for a full TDA test is one thing, and what counts for a full TDA test or DSH test is another thing. And so trying to grapple with that and say, oh, well, my stuff is this, but you have to look at the